Welcome to the Art of Money podcast with Art McPherson.
And thanks for checking out the Art of Money podcast. My name is Mark Owens alongside Art McPherson and Luke McCarty. All the information for the McPherson Financial Group, you can find it at theartofmoneyradio.com. Artofmoneyradio.com to meet the team, to also set up that virtual consultation. You can do it by Zoom still. Are you still getting a lot of, like we've talked a lot about over the past couple of weeks, that we're starting to open back up, starting to enjoy our summer once again after a wild pandemic, but people are still taking advantage of the Zoom conference calls?
Yeah, we are. We've gotten really good. Nothing like a pandemic to make you good at things that we were, not real good at before. But it's a really efficient way. I've probably done 4 or 5 Zoom appointments a week because of people that are out of town. Maybe they're not here in Florida. They're in their second home, up in the mountains or whatever. Or I've got some clients that literally will Zoom a meeting from me when they're in port of call, because right now they're sailing around the world.
Nice.
How cool is that? Where before, it'd be like a phone conversation. The world has changed so nicely, and some of those things that used to take a long time are now much more efficient. But it has to be an efficient use of time in our benefit. What I hate is anytime technology comes out and then all of a sudden everybody demands an instant response.
Yes.
It used to be you could send something by mail, take a couple days, then you could fax, then you could email. And then, sometimes there has to be efficiency right, where you want to make sure you can still do things in a good manner, but not just instant.
As we start making the plans for retirement, that's not something that should be instantaneous. That's something that takes some time. You got to put the right plan together.
Well, let me just rephrase this. We talked about this before in one of our shows. When they passed the Dodd-Frank law, right, you didn't have to save to actually go buy a home. You were able just to make a decision. Hey, this week, let's go buy a house. You didn't have to save for it because they'll let you borrow up to 125% of the value of the home. And by passing that law, do you think it helped or hurt foreclosure rates?
It probably hurt them.
Yes. Foreclosures went through the roof because people were not ready. They hadn't done any hard work. They hadn't done any planning. They hadn't saved any money. They didn't even feel the pain of, putting some money to the side to be able to afford to buy a house. Julie and I, one of our goals was to move on the river. I grew up, my dad's still in the house I grew up in as a kid over there in Satellite Beach on the canal. And I told her, I always want to be on the water. I said, but if I have my druthers, I'd like to be on the river instead of on the canals, because then you get just that beautiful river view. But we had to save an extra 8 years to be able to do that because it's more expensive. That was a priority for us, and we were able to do that and accomplish that dream. But if you're not doing that and you don't have any pain, like when you work out, there's pain.
Sure.
Then there's reward. I would say a lot of things we do in life, if there's no pain or there's no learning, then there's no real value to what you've accomplished.
And you've said it before, too. If we make that appointment with the McPherson Financial Group, this isn't a one-time consultation. This isn't a come down, we meet once, we look over some of your files. All right, you're good to go. This is a process.
Right. And typically what we do here at McPherson Financial Group, it's a 3-appointment process. Somebody comes in the door the first time is to get to know one another. We want to make sure we're a good fit for them and they're a good fit for us. And then once we kind of get into the details of what they're doing financially, then we say, okay, let's do another follow-up. And they have to say, yeah, we think that you're valuable to come back and see again. So they'll set up another follow-up with us. And then we do one more where we get into real good detail of where we think we can help them financially. So we invest in them on the front side because we feel like that is what it takes for us to be able to really give them some great recommendations for a financial plan.
And no obligation on those first couple of appointments.
Nope.
Just got to get to know each other and just make sure
everything's right. Get to know each other and see if we're a good fit and we can really help them have the retirement of their dreams.
Did you know that a lot of millennials are starting to turn 40 this year? That means they're facing some of the same financial issues that boomers have been dealing with for a little while now. So what kind of advice would you give to millennials maybe starting to get serious or start taking those first steps towards retirement planning?
Welcome to adulthood.
Yes, sir.
I think that's really the time when you hit 40, where you really start having more long-term goals and you really start looking out, hey, what does the next 5 years look like? What do the next 10 years look like? I think in the 30s, definitely in the 20s, it's live for the day kind of mentality. Then it's more like in the 30s, I think live for the week or month. And then finally, when you get to the 40s, you're like, you know what? I really would like to build that swing set for my kids, but that thing is $3,500. I need to save a little bit for that, and then I'll build it next summer. You realize there's not always an instant gratification to what you want to accomplish sometimes for your kids. So, they get expensive, don't they?
You kidding me? You kidding me?
You got an 8-year-old, right?
Yeah. I mean, between my daughter, she does dance. Okay. And I just know the dance classes and you have to buy the outfits and buy the shoes and buy the tickets to the recitals. And you have to sit 4 hours through a recital when you only want to see your kid who's going to be up there for about 3 minutes. And you just spend about $1,000 on it. Now that's just one kid. I can't imagine the parents who have 3 or 4 boys that are all trying to play baseball and travel ball and all-star baseball. I cannot imagine how expensive it is now.
Yes. I mean, it is just amazing how the money flows out. And it's like, you're not even giving the kids money. You're just doing that. Yeah. Exactly what you said. You're not actually handing them wads of cash. Nope. It's just wads of cash leave because of all the, activities you're doing for them to stay busy and, just have a good childhood and a safe childhood and be able to be involved. And dance for girls is just awesome. But you're exactly right. 4 hours for a recital and you only get to watch your daughter for 3 minutes. I love that.
I know they're not listening, so I can call them out. I got a brother-in-law who my nephew plays baseball, and my brother-in-law will say it to his son and go, look, I spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars for him to play baseball, and he's just not good. And I feel so bad for him because equipment these days costs, like back when we were kids and we were playing ball, you would share gloves. The third baseman would be like, all right, I left it on the base.
So now you have to buy all your own equipment?
Like baseball bats for 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds are $200 and $300 for a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's hard. I was a pitcher. Yep. In Little League, I played pitcher, and then sometimes I played third base, and then sometimes I played shortstop. And then once in a blue moon, they'd stick me in the outfield if we just needed me in a position or something.
I was the catcher, and then I played left bench. And I was an all-star at left bench. You wouldn't. So we talked about millennials for a couple of seconds, how they need to kind of start getting their path together and getting their plans together. Go Banking Rates, that website said that if you're in your 50s, it's time to figure out your retirement income gap. What is an income gap? And if you're in your 50s, is that something that I need to figure out?
Yes, because basically what that is saying is you have not saved enough to have the kind of retirement income that you need. So they're saying you have an income gap from what your retirement income need is to what your retirement income is going to be on your current saving rate. Okay. So that means you're not saving enough. So typically, the average person probably listening to our show today that has kind of just entered the foray of saving, they're probably doing the corporate match. And the corporate match is typically around 6%. But that is not going to be enough because you're going to need to save more along the lines of 10, 15, sometimes 20% to really to have the kind of retirement you want to have. Now, you don't get there by just doing 20% because your wife is going to kill me because you have recitals to go to. But you basically do 6% and then you go 7 or 8. You go up in 1% increments or 2%. You don't really feel it. So as you get little pay raises through the years, you basically take some of that pay raise and put it in your 401k. And then by the time we get out there after 5 years, you're now doing max contributions to your 401k and you have a really good program for saving money.
Yeah, those tap shoes ain't going to pay for themselves.
No, they're not.
These things are tiny, too. Why am I spending 3 digits on a pair of shoes?
Exactly. And I want your wife to still like me as I'm helping you grow your retirement, not to disown me because I'm taking all the money away from the kids. That's not going to work. I get in trouble for that.
There's a really good chance after a couple of conversations, the wives may like you better than they like the husbands.
That's because you're focused. Yeah, you're getting focused on the real stuff.
Exactly.
And we're taking away the ball. We have a tendency to get distracted a little bit.
Thanks for listening. Want more from Art McPherson of McPherson Financial Group? Find us online at artofmoneyradio.com. We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Securities offered through World Equity Group, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services offered through ProStatus Group, LLC. McPherson Financial Group and ProStatus Group, LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group, Inc. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. Art McPherson is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Arthur McPherson, Florida Insurance License number A174725.
Today's show has been a work of art.